Hello and welcome back to the channel, and thank you for joining me on another of my on-location interviews. Today I'm very thrilled. As you can see, I'm in an amazing environment. I'm down in Somerset today because I'm here to meet with Charles Dowding. Charles,
Hello, Richard.
thank you so much for agreeing to let us come and invade your garden, not like an invasive species or anything like that, and find out about your system of no dig.
I'm so glad you're here because I want to share this knowledge.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Well, this is really exciting. We've obviously had a conversation beforehand, and we've had a look at your amazing stuff, and we're very much on the same page on a number of things, such as what they're doing in the skies with their chemtrails. So it's really nice to have other people and to talk about a whole plethora of things that are going on, which are stopping us from achieving and thriving. Anyway, got that out the way. Charles, here we are. We want to find out a bit about your no dig. Could you just tell us in a very quick, encapsulated way, and then I think we're actually going to experience some of it.
Yeah, and we'll have a look at some of the results on the way as well.
Yeah.
But basically, no dig is a really simple process. It's so simple that often people think, can that really be it? It's like, so you leave the soil undisturbed. You don't put a fork or spade in unless you sometimes need to. You know, like I get asked on YouTube, so with no dig, how do you plant an apple tree?
Right.
So that, yeah, you dig a hole and you can.
Yeah.
And that's you need to. But for general purpose of growing food or flowers, anything,
Right.
just leave the soil undisturbed. It already has a structure. Plants are already growing in it. There might be weeds or whatever they are.
And
So
that's interesting, because that's something, I mean, I'm here to interpret what you said. You're right. The ground has already got stuff growing in it, and they didn't have to have anybody come and dig a hole for the weeds, did they?
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's there. And then, but what you've got to work out, if you want to grow vegetables particularly, which need lots of moisture, lots of light, and they don't like having too many weeds around, is how do you smother the weeds? We use cardboard or plastic at the beginning, just in the initial phase of clearing, well, not literally clearing, but I don't know how the word to use, but cleaning soil of weeds.
Cleaning the soil of weeds.
Yeah,
and
but
by
without
starving them of
removing.
light.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
By light starvation.
Yeah.
Light
Which is their
deprivation.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Without light, plants will die.
Yeah.
So with weeds, it's just a question of all the different types of weed or plant, how long it takes them to die. And I can show you some examples up there, like bindweed and volvulus, which is a nightmare for many gardeners, and that takes as much as 2 years
to get rid of.
To give you an idea. Yeah.
And the cardboard that you, well, shall we go and have a look at what you're
Yeah,
up
but
to?
do you want to see a few things on the way? Just
Yeah,
'cause
please.
Here you can see the results. You know, this garden actually has been 10 years. This is the 11th year of no dig. I arrived here. I started no dig gardening in 1982, and that was 6 miles up the road. That's on the farm I grew up in, a dairy farm.
So you haven't really moved very far.
Well, I had 7 years in France actually.
Oh, right,
so I had
okay.
a farm there. So I have
But
been
you've
around
come
a bit,
home.
and I've tried different soils as well, which is all good experience.
Yeah.
Actually, that reminds me, the second bit, the first bit of no dig is leaving soil undisturbed, and the second bit is feeding the soil life, the soil organisms, with organic matter on the surface.
Right.
And what that organic matter is, well, we'll look into the details of that a bit. But it's just those two things: undisturbed soil, food on the surface.
And then nature takes its course.
Nature does it, and then because you're feeding the soil life, you're not feeding plants directly. This makes it really simple.
Yeah.
This is what I love, because, you know, if you read a lot of gardening books and hear people talk about it, it always becomes incredibly complicated. And they'll talk about things like heavy feeders and light feeders and 4-year rotation and never walk on your beds. None of that applies with no dig. None of it.
Well, from what we've seen from you, just coming around and having a look, and we'll have a look in more detail as we go, there's a fun element to this.
Yeah, totally.
A lot of people are put off, I think, by the fact that, oh God, growing food is difficult, it's hard work, you've got to have all the right tools, it's back-breaking,
and the
all
knowledge.
And this sort of esoteric knowledge or occulted knowledge that, you know, years to get green fingers.
Yeah, this does allow you to be creative, because you're not pulling weeds. Like here you can see how few weeds there are. We have not weeded this patch. Well, we've probably spent about 5 minutes weeding here over the last week, just to give you an idea. So we're free to do other things, the creative work.
Julia wants us to move into the sun.
Planting.
The lovely Julia is filming, and she's saying,
yeah,
we're
sowing,
in the
planting,
shade.
and just looking after plants taking the harvest. We spend a lot of time picking. Like this is a market garden here, so I'm
Right.
actually cropping 1/3 of an acre, about 1,400 square meters, and from that we're harvesting around 800 pounds a week at the moment. You know, of
Good
produce.
gracious,
So
yeah.
it's very productive. So when people ask me about starting out No Dig, I'm always saying just start small. You'll be amazed how much food you
How
can
much
grow.
food, yeah. Because that's the thing that people think, well, actually you need a huge amount of space, you know, acres and acres of space
Yeah.
in order to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
I mean, depends how you call self-sufficient,
Absolutely.
I suppose. John
Yeah,
Seymour was self-sufficient on his farm. I don't know if you remember
Yeah,
John
yeah, very
Seymour
much. Yeah, I used to read those books.
in the 70s or
I
whatever.
would say if you're a vegetarian, you might need as little as 200 square meters, which is, or about the size of a British full-scale allotment. But obviously it depends very much
Yeah.
what you eat and how many of you there are and all that kind of thing. So, but yeah, this is hugely productive. I mean, look at these
look
onions.
at these onions.
Yeah.
I mean, they're beautiful.
We just pulled them this morning, and that's techniques I developed, multi-sown. So they're all from seed, not sets.
Right.
You know, I'm just always working out ways to do things more quickly, more efficiently, and productively. Spacing's really tight. You just get so much more food doing it
You
this way.
said to me at the beginning when we first came, you didn't go to college and train and all of this. You're very much somebody who's learned on the
Yeah.
go by experiment, and you've shown us different places where you're experimenting.
Yeah.
All the time. That doesn't
Still.
stop.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's how I learn. Empirical understandings are, well, they're powerful because you know then they work. It's not theoretical.
Yes.
And really too much of the writing and teaching in gardening, I feel, has been done by people who are just recycling information. You know, the accepted body of knowledge. I
Yes.
think it's true of life in general, isn't it?
Yes.
And you actually have to push pretty hard to break through that. I've found, you know, doing No Dig for all these decades, it's only recently it's been taken seriously. And it's social media, I feel, that's really enabled me to reach the audience.
Really, that's really interesting because of what we do on our channel and how we criticise mainstream media and how
Yeah, legacy media.
Yeah, legacy media,
So I like
exactly.
that
Yeah,
phrase,
because we are now the mainstream. I think
Well, to some extent, yeah.
more people are switching over.
Yeah, but also they've got the choice. You know, the information is through social media. It is there for them if they want it. Whereas
Yeah.
before it was controlled by editors or, you know, whoever's choosing the content, basically.
Yes, no, I totally agree. So it's interesting you say that the no dig approach is coming because we continually see images of farms, you know, historically with horses and plough,
Yeah.
and we assume that that's been going on for
Well,
for
it has.
millennia.
Yeah.
But so is that just
Okay.
ignorance?
Yeah, no, I think here we need to make that distinction that's not made enough between farming and gardening.
Right.
And farming is what people do for a living more, gardening more hobby and grow your own food. And the farming is on bigger acreages where what I'm doing here wouldn't actually go up to more than an acre or two because it's high input, particularly of time.
Yes.
And so it's for high value output, high value foods like vegetables. And apart from one exception, we'll see, I'm not trying to grow wheat and barley and fields of potatoes or animals even. So
Yes.
you know, that's the difference.
Yes. So you're doing it. I mean, I know you're doing some for market gardening purposes, but
Yeah.
essentially,
This can scale down.
yeah.
I'll show you just to make one bed, for example.
Yeah. Well, that'd be
I
fascinating.
mean, like here, we could just,
Yeah,
I
do.
can show you the process. So this ground here
Yeah.
is actually 2 years ago, what you see here, which looks like nice lawn,
Yes.
was like that.
Is it really?
So
So
if
hang on a
you-
minute. Hang on. Let's go and have a look at this. So here you've got what looks like a wild meadow
Exactly.
with all sorts of grasses and plants and wild. Now, just
Flowers, dandelions, buttercups, you know.
there
everything.
is
Bindweed.
bindweed.
the
Oh,
one
there it
with
is.
the
Yeah.
Pink flowers.
We interviewed a chap called Michael Joseph, whose whole thing is about getting more meadows because something like 95% of meadows have gone,
Yeah.
and trying to get more of the natural, not weeds, but the flowers, all the different types of flowers and grasses back, because of the pollinators and the insects and invertebrates
sure.
and what have you,
Yeah.
which is so important. But what's staggering here is that if you mow this down, as you've just
Yeah.
described, here we've got what looks like a lawn, but actually you start to see deep within it.
Buttercups, for example, there.
Oh wow!
A lot of clover has arrived actually. That appears after you mow. That's white clover. which if we stop mowing for a bit, you can see some of it over there is flowering, the white flowers.
Good for the soil?
Yeah, very much. All of it's good for the soil.
Yeah.
All of it's making nice roots, and that's helping keep structure in the soil and everything. So we deliberately mow just the bit around the edge that we need for access and everything, and
Yes.
leave the rest wild.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't agree more with that guy. But what I'm noticing though is not many insects. We're giving the insects loads of food here, pollinators. There are not nearly as many as I feel there should be, or as there were.
Oh, that's interesting.
And over there, we've made a wildflower meadow. You can see there's different colours coming up through the grass and
Very
everything.
beautiful down that we were looking
But
at.
again, yeah, not as many butterflies and things as I would have expected.
And yeah, so it's almost as if something else is interrupted.
Something else is going on.
Yes.
Yeah,
But,
well, actually, you know, talking about those chemtrails, look up there. We're seeing them all the time now. And then you see the sky become slightly veiled.
Yes.
And then I just had an email this morning from someone in Herefordshire, actually, and she said, what is going on? She said, my plants are not growing nearly as fast as they used to, and a lot of my neighbours are saying exactly the same thing. And she said, I had heard about plans, which is a government website, isn't it? To veil
the
sky,
government are
reduce the
telling you
sunlight.
that they're doing it.
Yeah.
To save the planet, you understand?
Yeah, that's right.
Not to manipulate the
Right.
people on it or stop their food from growing. So they say.
Well, I'm doing a few things here, and I can show you in a minute, actually, just I've got 1 or 2 devices to help reduce that. And I think that might explain. You can see here there's fantastic abundance.
Yeah, it's abundance here. So you're clearly tapping into something.
Yeah, I'm onto something. But let me show you the starting point.
Yeah.
So we got homemaker soil is good soil. I'm fortunate there. But you can do this no dig on any soil. I've done it on really heavy clay. I've done it on very stony soil. It works really well.
Chalk. We're in Sussex. Chalk and
That's the most difficult.
All right.
But only in that you need more compost.
right.
You know,
okay.
it is a famous chalk and sandy soil, also famous for
Yeah.
being quite poor. Don't hold on to moisture very much.
Yeah.
But what the compost does, if you put an extra 2 inches probably on top, you'll hold more moisture and hold the
Right.
nutrients.
Okay.
So that's your remedy. For
That's the remedy.
So, if you can get hold of nice big bits of cardboard like this,
Wow. Yeah. And cardboard seems to be very plentiful in this stay-at-home
just
deliver.
pop it on the ground, Richard.
Oh, right.
That's what we're going to do. Yeah, there's loads of it around.
And we throw it away.
Yeah, and actually this bit happens not to have any writing on. I wonder if I've got someone who, I know that I get a lot of questions about.
Oh, the printing.
Yeah, and funnily enough, these are all plain boxes. But it's not a worry. You don't need to concern yourself about that. I'll just show you a little trick here with what you can do to. A lot of board has the gaps at the side where the way the cardboard's been folded. So if you just slot that under that slit.
Oh, I see.
Because this is basically all about excluding light from what is growing here at the moment.
So that will
that's
stop
the
the
essence.
weeds and the grass to continue to grow.
That's it.
Because
And
we all
you'll
know what that's like. If we put a tent up or something in the garden,
Yeah.
or a door has fallen and you've left it and you bring it up, it's all dead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually sheets of glass can be very good at that if it's
Oh,
sunny.
really?
But what I've done here also is I've overlapped. So these grasses and weeds would sort of spread horizontally.
Yeah.
So I've gone about 4 to 6 inches over the edge
Oh, okay.
to stop that.
Brilliant.
And then what you could do also is put a bit of wood, something like that, just along
Just to
that
hold
edge,
it down.
Cardboard, especially once it gets wet, it'll curl upwards a bit,
Oh, right, yeah.
which lets the light in. So it's always about watching the edges. But
Yes.
Then the
Oh,
easy
interesting.
bit really is once you've got some compost, what I'll also show you actually is how you could. There's just so many ways you can do this. You know,
Yes.
there's no one perfect way or correct way. I always try and keep away from that sort of thing of what's right and wrong.
Could
because
you get shots looking down that way? Because it would be lovely to.
we'll just put a bit under these sides as well. I want to keep it that people understand the process and then they can be creative. There's a lovely saying, it's not what you know, it's what you understand.
Right. Yes. Because once you've got the idea,
Exactly.
you can then mould it and change it. And
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
what all of us have to do, because something like everybody's garden is different, everybody's situation is different, how much
yeah,
space
because you
they've
might be
got.
sloping and all sorts
Yeah,
of
yeah,
things.
exactly. In fact, if that's a good question, because if it's sloping, I recommend running these beds up and down, not across. It's a lot easier because then it's the same width.
Right.
Same slope
that's
on all
interesting.
beds, and the slope goes down. And traditionally, it's said that you should run your beds across the slope because otherwise the soil erodes. But with no dig, you're not loosening or digging the soil, so therefore it doesn't wash away.
Oh, I see.
And the compost soon settles down.
I will ask you, and I'm just pointing it now whilst I remember, I will ask you about water, because that's something that people will but no doubt we'll come on to that, how you water your plants, or whether the compost that you put down will retain enough. But
we were doing quite a bit of watering here in late May and early June this year when it was so dry.
Right.
But I don't have an irrigation system. I'm running a third of an acre, a big area of ground with just one tap. So I'm not using a huge amount, but I will definitely give water. You need a source of water for plants at certain times.
Right.
In the last 2 weeks where it's been raining, we don't not watering at all, for example. This is very moisture retaining. All the moisture that's in the ground already is not disturbed, it stays there.
Yes.
And the compost on top retains moisture. But more than that, what we're doing with this is retaining the structure of the soil that's already there, which means there's a natural capillarity and water can both flow downwards, it drains easily, and it can rise upwards because all the capillary structure, which is not well understood, I don't think, I can't say I totally get it, but it's to do with also the mycorrhizal fungal network. They help plants to access what's in the soil already.
And I'm guessing that we've seen all those pictures when the farmer is ploughing the field, the seagulls come down and eat all the worms. You're retaining all the worms that are doing good work underneath the soil by not interrupting them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
it's very sympathetic to natural process, and it keeps everything that's in the ground there already.
Fantastic.
So what we're going to add on top though is some compost. Should we look
right,
at
let's get some compost
options. So we put some in buckets here to show you, and it's all different types. When I use the word compost, I think often people might have in their minds that it's something really perfect and fine and black like you sometimes get. I mean, this is my homemade compost here, and this is how we use it. I mean, look at these bits of wood. You know, I'm not worrying about bits of wood in the compost. There's a lot of good stuff as well.
Yes, it's not all wood.
There's a lot of lovely compost there. That's probably about 9 months old, and that's a mixture of garden waste, some woody bits that I get in from a tree surgeon. So, you know, I'm not afraid of bringing stuff in to make my compost. Wood chip is often free.
And does that make that what they call friable?
Yeah, that's a word that's used,
Loose and easy for the roots to get through. And
yeah, absolutely. But it's also got what's called crumb structure. And that's really important. And this is where compost is different to soil. It doesn't all slump down into a solid mass after you've moved it. It holds that. For instance, if I squash this, I can then break it apart again.
Oh, I see. So the plants can just do that quite easily.
It's got fantastic rooting structure possibilities, plus all the soil life. You're putting this on top and the organisms are eating it. And so that creates a whole business of moving and eating and excreting in the soil. I mean, soil is like a big toilet, you know, in a way. It's like a restaurant toilet in the soil.
Yes.
They're all eating and excreting. Billions of organisms. It's lovely to think of it like that. And then you've got different ones that you can use. So that's called green waste or town or municipal compost, and that's people's garden waste that they take to the local recycling facility.
Oh, is it?
And they turn by giant machines into that, which kind of looks good, but actually it's not as nutritious as that, and it's a little bit dead in terms of microbes.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, but it's still good stuff, and you can get that quite cheaply sometimes.
Right.
So I'd urge your viewers to have a look at what they can buy, because with vegetable growing, it's not only peculiar to no dig, it really pays to invest in compost at the beginning.
Right.
This is mushroom compost. It's called spent mushroom compost. So that's been used to grow mushrooms, like the mushrooms people buy in the supermarket.
Yes.
And after they've grown their mushrooms, it runs out of fertility for mushrooms, but it's great for growing other plants. So that's
I see,
also something you can buy. And this one, believe it or not, is cow manure.
Cow manure, right.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like it to me. You know, I grew up on a farm, and usually cows were bedded on straw.
Yes.
But because straw's now in short supply because of all the chemicals used to shorten the straw, and there isn't much straw around.
No.
So this farmer bought wood chip, actually.
Oh, I see. Bedded the cows so that,
yes.
Because when at first you'd say to somebody something like cow manure, if you're completely novice like me, you're thinking someone's going along with a spade looking for cow pats.
Yeah.
But of course, they're bedded on straw over the winter period, the autumn.
Yeah, it's brilliant you say that, because these words can be very confusing.
Yeah.
You know, like, what is compost? Well, compost is anything decomposed made from anything organic matter, basically.
Yeah.
It could be leaf mold. It could be wood that's, you know, rotted down enough.
Yeah.
So there's many possibilities.
When I was younger, my dad used to take me up to a place called Leith Hill, and it was an ancient hill and woodland, and the wood there and the leaf mould, which is what he would go. You weren't supposed to do this, but
Yeah,
people
right.
did. They'd
Yeah,
go with
yeah.
bags, they'd get their shovels, and they'd dig this stuff up, and it was
Beautiful
brilliant.
stuff. Yeah,
It was really brilliant because
yeah.
do
All
too much of that.
Free from nature.
So when are we going to take these?
Right, over to the new bed. I'm just going to put them down just so your viewers can see the simplicity of it. If you had, say you had, if I was starting from that rather than this.
Yes.
So this has been mown for 2 years. That has weakened the root structure.
Right.
But if you were starting from those plants will have really strong roots.
Yeah.
I would use a double layer of cardboard. That's just, I'm not going to do it here, but I just want to point this out.
And this is, I mean, I'm going to state the obvious here. You're not using plastics or anything like that.
Yeah.
No,
Well, not at this point. Never use plastic. It's good you asked that, because just to be clear, never use plastic underneath anything.
Right.
It can go on top, as we're going to see in a minute.
Yeah.
Temporarily. But what the cardboard does is, the brilliance of it is, that will decompose within 2 months as long as it's moist.
Right.
So it's giving you a 2-month period of stopping weed growth.
Yes.
And then after that 2 months, if the weeds have died, you won't have any weeding to do, but some will come through like bindweed.
Yeah.
We'll see that in a minute.
And you'll see it and you can
So-
deal with it.
I mean, just feel free, pop the homemade compost on, why don't
Right, this one?
you? Yeah.
So what are we looking for?
So-
A couple of inches?
Yeah, if we do just this area here, because we've only got what we've got. Just throw it on, Richard. Just drop the whole lot.
All right.
Yeah, that's good.
I was just trying. Oh wow! Now look at the worms.
worms.
Oh my goodness! Look at those wrigglies.
Wow, that's amazing. That's the stage of composting where it gets quite, and that's where beautiful structure comes from. actually,
Yeah.
with worm cast.
And you don't get that in bags.
No,
Well,
very
commercial
rarely.
bags.
Very rarely.
Very rarely.
And actually, what we'll do after the video, we'll water this area, because I want to make sure the cardboard stays moist. Actually, the worms love eating cardboard as well.
Do they?
These worms are not going to die from doing this, but they're going to find themselves in a somewhat different environment.
Yes. There's a bit of a shock for them because they've been used
and
to the
actually,
bucket.
They will enjoy having a bit of, well, it could be any of these. It could be the cow manure, for example. You know, if I just put a bit of that on top. I'm just giving you examples, you know.
Yeah,
how you
yeah,
could do it. You don't have to use more than one compost. You know, we could have just used that homemade compost.
Yes.
That would work. But if you have compost like this, that can also work. And you can even, if you have access to different types of compost, you don't need to physically mix them, but you could put a bit of one and then the other, and then this is the mushroom compost. Your viewers can see it more clearly if I just drop it out like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was going to. An idea came through. Yes, compost. How long does it take to actually make the compost?
Well, what I put on there, the homemade, was about 9 months old.
Right.
And the cow manure, probably that's a good year old, I should think. So you're better off. This stuff can be a problem because the green waste compost, as it's called, it looks very beautiful, black and crumbly,
Yes.
even when it's quite young, and sometimes it can be hot in the bag or in a heap, and that's a sign that it's still decomposing.
Oh, I see.
And
So
that
you've got to
will-
wait for the heat to go.
Yeah, you won't get good results if you use it at that stage, and it doesn't hold water very well. But it can. We use it sometimes like this, just as a very
Like as a
thin
topsoil.
surface layer, because it's guaranteed weed free, because they make the compost so hot that you know then you won't get any new weeds growing in the compost itself. You
Ah,
can
I
still
see.
get the perennial weeds pushing
And
through.
there is very minuscule little worms in it. I just saw one.
Yeah, that's
Maybe-
a good sign actually.
Oh, right.
That's because we've had it sitting in a heap for a few months. So yeah, they've got in there.
So
So that's pretty much it. And you know, if you probably I'd use a bit more compost than that, up to 4 inches, even 6, which is a lot, but it's only a one-off.
Right.
And then you've got fertility going forwards for many years. Every year we put on about 1 inch or so new compost.
Oh, I see. Yes. So you lay this down. So your initial investment
Yeah.
is the first year,
That's it.
and then thereafter just a thin layer because you're just
Yeah.
feeding it
Feeding the life.
the life.
Yeah, feeding the life, which enables roots then team up with the life like the mycelial network to find the nutrients they need.
That is amazing.
And you know, most nutrients are in the soil already. It's about
Yes.
enabling that process. And then these wooden sides, you know, you can, once this is settled, sometimes in the summer, if it's quite dry, I'll recommend pushing this down a bit. And that helps to make a firm edge, and then you can take that away.
Yes, because I notice you don't. You see a lot of people have all these lovely edges and things, but yours just. I mean, you've mown it very beautifully, so it looks nice.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily need these.
No,
the wood.
This is just a template. What I'm doing here is just a temporary template. And yeah, going forwards, from the beginning, we're saving so much money by not having wooden sides.
Right.
You know, for me, the investment is compost.
Yes.
I'm not using any feeds or fertilizers. You know, this is a really simple method.
Simple, and yet clearly it works.
Hugely productive. Yet, have a quick look here, because this here, we made a bed in January. You can just see the remains of a bit of cardboard there on the edge. So this was in January. This was like what you're standing on there, the grass and weeds, and now already we've got productive plant.
Yes. So we're in July.
Yeah.
Just so people know, if you started in January.
Yeah, mid-July this is now. So this is actually a Charlotte potato grown from some seed potato I saved. And we popped the seed potato in.
Wow, look at those.
It would have gone probably just down to the level of the cardboard. It might have gone through. There's a dandelion that's popped up through and that we missed because it's probably won't come out. So the root's still in there, but it's getting weaker. But yeah, look how many potatoes are here.
Yeah, these are great.
And you know, this has involved almost no work, because if I get down a bit, we'll see the soil level. We did put a bit of, that's the original soil there. You can.
Right.
So that is the pasture. You can still see some of the roots of the grass and clover.
And different plants presumably will send their roots down different levels.
Yeah, absolutely. And these potatoes actually, you see how they're rooting down into the soil. The cardboard decomposes after 2 months or so, and then plants we put in, like the potatoes, they can root into the soil. It's already got structure, and you can get a harvest so easily.
And this is like, what, a metre square of potatoes, and you know, you can see, wow.
Small potato, we'll keep a potato like that for seed for next year.
Right.
So you've got your...
And that's an important thing, you mentioned seed, because seeds and regenerating seeds or keeping seeds is very important, because it seems that the industry, like so many different areas of industry, have stopped allowing you to buy, well, it seems they want to hold the monopoly.
Yeah,
and then control what the
as
varieties
a gardener,
are.
I would say even worse than that. What I've noticed with a lot of traditional seeds, they're not being well maintained. The varieties are not being well maintained. Right. So when they grow the seed, they're not looking after the fields they grow them in. And that pushes people to buy the more expensive hybrid seeds, which you can't save seeds from. I'll show you one or two examples of seed saving as we go round.
Yeah.
I just wanted to harvest a celery here actually as well, because, you know, again, even after 40 years of doing this, I still find this remarkable. So this celery I put in as a transplant. So I raised transplants myself in the greenhouse.
So just explain transplants.
Transplant is a little baby plant, basically.
Oh, your transplant, yes, sorry, okay.
So I sowed the seed for this in late February in the greenhouse.
Yes.
And I had a little module raised plant, and it was about that high. And I just have a wooden dibber, make a hole, pop it in the little plug plant, it's called. And that was in about the middle of April. And this is what we have. And, you know, again, very little ongoing maintenance, because there are so few weeds. But look how much food is here. And the smell of it.
Delicious, yeah.
What you can do actually with celery, and I probably should have done it, it would be more good. If you cut it about like there across, it will regrow and you get more stalks. Yeah. So
it's like things like hazel, that you end up with a stall of hazel.
Yeah, like
and it will just like coppicing.
Just for the current year, by the second year it wants to flower, so you can just have more harvest during the current year. But yeah, lovely plant. And all of this, I've been actually drying some of this in my dehydrator.
Right.
And that you can make your own bouillon or stock powder.
Oh.
And, you know, otherwise people throw it on the compost heap or use it for stock. But anyway, yeah, lots of
And that's, I mean,
here.
you mentioned that. That's another thing that there's a lot of leaves and a lot of parts of the plant that you don't eat that you can throw back onto the compost heap, which is that sort of circular.
Yeah, you're using it one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, all good. This here is where we tried something different. Well, it is partly for education, but it's growing a lot of food as well. So in January, this ground again was like that. It was weedy pasture.
Yes.
And we put on 3 inches of compost, and then of different types, like I've just showed you.
Yep.
And then we put a big sheet of black plastic on top, which you can just see.
On top of the...
In fact, we could probably see it up here more
Right.
clearly. Yeah, on top of the compost.
Okay.
So,
And this crop is...
well, this is squash for winter.
Right.
That's called Crown Prince up there, and these ones that are more visible now because they're a little bit earlier.
Oh,
You see
wow, look at those.
they will go bright orange and then have a hard skin, and if you harvest them towards the end of September, and they store in the house for up to 8 months.
Do they
It's
really?
amazing, yeah.
Wow, that is good.
That kind of thing is empowering, you know, to
Yeah.
grow your own food and also know that it's going to be there for you to eat for a long time.
And again, and that's a very interesting point, because people always, I mean, my concern, because Julia and I, we desperately want to do this if we can find a plot. And you think, well, you know, how quickly do you consume all that food, and then what are you going to do
Yeah.
when the growing seasons
Yeah.
are over?
Yeah.
But the fact that certain foods...
Setting
you
food
can-
by. Those potatoes I showed you, that we can put them in a paper sack and they will keep for up to 10 months actually.
Up to 10 months?
Yeah, yeah, just in a frost-free shed.
Right.
It's much easier than you might imagine.
Yeah.
It's been made to sound difficult a bit, I think. You know, the Victorians rather hijacked gardening and made it all sound very complicated. You know, the great aristocracy
Yeah.
people. So,
And if you go back to thinking of our ancestors, I mean, I know there were obviously droughts and all those sort of problems that they would have had, but we have survived without making growing too difficult. They knew, you know, they must have learnt their thing
yeah.
over the years, and
Well,
somehow
absolutely. Yeah.
sophistication has confused everything a bit.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
I mean, they wouldn't have had plastic. That's one thing
No.
I do find very useful, actually. But I'm sure there's alternatives. But just in this modern day and age, what I find as a commercial grower is that food is still, believe it or not, relatively cheap compared to what you might want to earn as a wage.
Right.
So something like the plastic is we're just saving so much time. It stops
Yeah.
the bindweed. So we're at the end of the year, after September, we'll take the harvest and then we roll it up and we can use it again. This is not single-use plastic.
So the plastic is not like doing what the cardboard is doing. You've done
That's
the
right.
cardboard, you put the compost on,
And
and
it
the
stays there.
plastic is on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the plastic is, which is purely to stop the weed.
It's a temporary, it's a
Yeah.
6 month in the place, and then we roll it up and it's, we've
Right.
got clean ground. Because that's where we did plastic last year.
Over here. Let's have a look at this. Look at
This year we've grown potatoes already, and that's some of the harvest, just drying a bit before we sack it up. And then it'll store better. And then, so they were just harvested this morning. And that's rye actually, because I'm really into, I've always made my own bread and I love the taste of real bread.
Well, we mentioned this before, that I do make my own bread, and you suggested to me use a mill instead of trying to buy your flour, because you can you can keep the...
If you can get a countertop mill, I actually don't know lately how much expensive they are, but say £300-400 maybe.
Yeah.
I feel that's an investment that because it should last for decades.
Is that hand operated? Or
Electric.
Electric.
No, I tried hand.
Did
it
you?
took 20 minutes for a loaf of bread.
Right.
Oh, you really appreciate the bread.
Yeah, I bet you do.
But the electric one I got is actually 40 years old now. And
Oh, is it?
I've just had to send the stones back to be reground once. So I feel that
Wow.
was worth it.
And that's really nice. Now I love this, because you don't see this on a commercial farm.
What you mean, the tall
Plants. I
This
mean,
is rye actually.
Rye.
Yeah. So rye does have a nice long straw. And what we've got to work out to do, because we're doing it by hand, that was the easy bit.
Yeah.
How do you get the grains out of here? And they need to be dried in this. They look right, but they're not.
It's
really...
dropping them all.
Yeah, exactly. That's the rye grains. They're actually
Teachy.
soft. Do you want to try one? You can eat them at the moment because they are quite soft. You can chew them. Oh, it's more scrunchy than yesterday. But...
Right, Julia's putting her hand out.
Oh, right, okay, let's get a few
Camera
more.
lady.
I know, actually, they're good to eat. Yeah, this is not the way to do it. as you can
Clearly,
see, but-
you need a better mechanism.
Yeah. Oh, we had fun actually. I did put up a video about this last year, and it caused a lot of interest because I think, you know, many of us are used to buying bread, and you don't see the whole process or know how it, you know. How it...
And commercial bread is made in such a bad way. We've spoken about
yeah.
this on the thing.
Oh, right, good.
And so many people are interested in
Yeah.
making proper healthy bread with
Good.
all sorts of different grains, not just wheat.
Well, I wonder if any of your people have mentioned the process I use is called no need.
No
Goes with
need.
no dig.
Yes, yeah, no dig, no need. I love this sort of less labour intensive approach.
Finding these shortcuts. Because
Absolutely.
what we're all short of is time, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, if we can find those shortcuts.
Yeah.
If I just spoon it, mix it up in a bowl, spoon it in the tin, leave it overnight to rise and bake it in the morning.
Fantastic.
That's sourdough.
And it's nice bread. I'm asking you.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's not, well, you
it's
wouldn't do it.
delicious.
But yeah.
I serve it on my courses. We do day courses here. And it's one of the ingredients of lunch, and people love it. The flavour is really good.
The other thing about seeing these long stalks, which immediately struck me, it takes you right back to the days when they were being scything, and the stalks were being used for thatch and things like that. And you would see these old images of the stooks put together on the farms, rather than the sort of big, easy mechanical, combine baling. And all of the old heritage plants grew tall, and over the years they've been changed.
Yeah. That's because straw is not valued anymore.
Yeah.
People don't need it for thatch or for bedding, actually, because cereal farmers don't have animals. You know, they just want the green bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, this gives us lots of straw. And actually, Adam, who works here, he grew mushrooms on it last year.
Oh, did he?
Mushrooms on the straw.
So again, it's that whole thing about you're using everything.
Yeah.
It's not being thrown away. It has its use. And that's
Absolutely.
nature, isn't it?
Yeah. 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 This is lovely. No waste economy.
Yeah.
But
I think that's something that a lot of people are thinking about now, because we have raped the planet in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And I read a book, or I'm reading a book called Cradle to Cradle, which is the reverse from cradle to grave. And the concept of cradle to grave is what we've been doing, in which you get your raw material, you make something with it. When it's come to its point where it's going to go into the grave, or it's no longer use, like say a plastic chair, it's put into landfill where it's doing nothing.
Away, yeah.
But cradle to grave, cradle to cradle is the idea that you're thinking about its end point before you even make it, so that if it's a wooden chair, well, that wood could degrade into compost, depending if you've not put too much horrible varnish on, or chemicals on it. And so it's just a different approach. And this is nothing to do with the sort of myth of man-made global warming and saying, but it's to stop pollutions and toxins going back into the ground.
We're using natural materials,
And,
really, isn't
and using more natural materials.
as much as possible.
The butterflies there are having a field day, literally.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's an example, actually. The one product I buy for pest control is something called Bacillus thuringiensis.
You're going to have to say that slowly.
Bacillus thuringiensis, and
Right.
it's a soil bacteria. It's in the soil under our feet.
Right.
And someone has worked out how to extract it and turn it into a dry powder. And it used to be that you could buy it quite easily. And it's what it does is it makes those leaves. We just sprayed some on this morning, or Adam did, and it's makes the leaves indigestible to caterpillars only.
Oh, right.
It doesn't affect other insects or human beings.
Yes.
Or animals.
So it's not killing them like a pesticide.
That's right.
It's just saying you won't like to eat this.
Yeah, well,
So
they
they
eat
go
it
out.
and then they do die, but
Oh,
only caterpillars.
Right.
Only, literally.
Oh, I see.
And so we just use it as a way, spray it on about 5 times a year in the summer from now. It's the first time I've seen those butterflies, actually.
Look at that. All these lovely butterflies just...
But believe it or not, this product has been made difficult to buy.
It's been made difficult to buy.
Yeah, you can go into a garden centre and buy pesticides,
Yes.
Roundup, weed killer,
Yes.
lethal poisons of all kinds. And this is a natural soil bacterial way of controlling insect damage. And it's really hard to buy. And I'll just give a tip for your viewers. If you want to get it, because you're not, believe it or not, you're not allowed to use it for food crops unless you have a horticultural
License or
qualification.
something. Oh, really?
Honestly, this is where I get suspicious.
Yes.
But basically, what you do is you buy box hedge caterpillar killer. It's the same product.
Oh,
the
is
same active ingredient.
There you go, a little special tip for you. Box hedge caterpillar killer.
Yeah.
Everything, Charles, is bountiful here. This clearly works.
Great.
And
Yeah.
you haven't got an army of people tending to stuff. You also don't seem to have slugs and snails and things that many other people often refer to or complain about.
Yeah. That's, I think, partly through not having, for example, wooden sides, because they can harbour slugs. You know, as
Right.
the wood decays on the inside of a bed,
Yeah.
you get the rotten
Oh,
wood is where they
see.
can live on a day like today. They need to go somewhere moist.
Shade is as
Yeah,
well.
they need habitat, basically. So what I'm doing is reducing their potential habitat. And, you know,
that's
there'll be loads of slugs around the edge. And
Yes.
I'm not against having wild areas.
No,
but
no.
I don't want them in the middle where I'm growing my vegetables.
Yeah.
And as you can see, there's very little damage. And that's all about being time efficient again. You know, we're not having to keep remedying things. We're not having to weed hardy. 3 minutes weeding probably is the total that's happened on this bed of kale, for example.
That is
since it went in.
incredible. I have a friend who's constantly complaining about the weeding
Oh, right.
on his
Yeah.
allotment.
Yeah. Well, I hope he watches this.
Yes, there we
Get some
go.
ideas.
See,
Yeah.
that would be interesting. So many different crops here, and I
Yeah,
suddenly.
I mean, this is for me as a commercial grower. This is my main cost-effective crop with lettuce that we've picked this already. This lettuce, we just removed the outer leaves,
Oh, okay.
and that way you can keep a plant alive for several weeks. Like you take off leaves like this.
Oh, I see. And
So
then
this
just,
is your harvest,
yes,
and it's not using a knife.
he's just ripping it off.
Yeah, a bit more gentle than that.
Well, yes. Sorry,
I'm trying to get it off so that we get a clean stalk on the plant behind it.
Try a little bit, if that's
And then
okay.
you end up with what you might call a little lettuce tree there. And you'll come back in a week and find, another 6 or 7 leaves. They often make 1 leaf a day.
I tell you, that is tasty.
Yeah, quite. That's good, eh?
Mm.
That's a variety called Maravilla di Verona. It's quite an old-fashioned Batavian type. So we pick these week after week for up to 10 weeks from the same planting. So, that, again, is
Yeah.
a big saving, and we're not having to keep replanting or resowing lettuce.
Oh my
and so on.
God! Yeah. Why don't people do that more often?
Well, I'm getting the word out there, and I'm getting some nice feedback, actually. But
Right.
I am amazed how hard you have to work to sort of change ideas.
Yes.
You know.
They get so ingrained.
Yeah.
And it's repeated. I suppose a lot of stuff is repeated on the television.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Force of repetition and assumptions about how things may or may not work. Like carrots here, we sowed between lettuce. The reason why the soil's disturbed there, we removed the last lettuce yesterday. But
Oh, I
these
see.
were actually. So you don't have to wait for a planting to finish. With no dig, it's really easy because your ground's ready all the time for a new seed or plants, and you can use your fingers almost. Draw a drill in the surface compost, drop the seeds in. There you go.
that is incredible. I'm actually quite surprised how much you're getting in such a small amount of space. Now I'm
Yeah.
a complete novice to this, so I'm certainly.
Well,
this,
I'll show you a bed. I can show you an example of a bed where we pick it and how much, where I record. I'll just mention in passing.
Yeah.
I wonder if you might recognise these plants.
okay, so
It's a bit
these.
of a trick question.
Oh, they're not. It's not. Oh, what's the evil plant in the?
Evil plant.
Is it? What is it?
Giant hogweed?
Yeah, giant hogweed.
Ah, giant hogweed. No, it's related though.
Oh, is it?
It's parsnip.
Oh, is it parsnip?
Yeah, which is that family of plants.
Oh. Oh, right.
Yeah. So, but what I'm doing here is keeping it for seed. So
Right.
I actually
Yes.
selected my best parsnips, planted them here in March. So they grew last year because
Right.
parsnips biennial. To get the seed from it, you've got to harvest in the second year.
Harvest it in the second year.
So
right.
we'll be gathering that, and that's beetroot. I mean, it's amazing how different vegetables look when they're flowering.
Yes.
This is beetroot.
Beetroot. You wouldn't think it from
Hundreds
this.
of seeds on it, on each plant. Yeah. And that's carrot, in fact. And that's finished flowering. It had beautiful white flowers. You can see like that one. That won't make anything now, but that's and they smell fragrant as well. So yeah, this is my little seed den.
And as we mentioned before, that is a vital thing to do, and it's going to save you money.
Yeah, I don't look at it so much from that point of view. Actually, the time I put into that, it probably doesn't save me money anyway.
Right.
But it's empowering, and the quality of growth often is much stronger. That's
Right.
what interests me.
Yeah.
And I'll show you what we do with the seeds, which is here. So we're propagating a lot. These are all seedlings which are going to go out. And it used to be I would use something like this.
Yes.
This is the stuff that is
Commercially.
most commonly sold
Right.
for plant raising, and look, it's falling apart.
Yeah.
It's built-in obsolescence.
Yeah.
So I actually designed my own, and that's what these are. These are Charles Dowding CD trays, which are made by a company in the Midlands, and they are polypropylene, but they're for a lifetime, basically.
Wow. Okay.
Seedlings pop out really easily, even when they're quite small. I can probably push that one out, and you can see you get a nice root structure in the
Wow.
compost.
Look at that.
Actually, that one wasn't quite big enough. But yeah, that one's only been in there for about a week, actually. That's why it sort of came a part of it. But we'll grow these to close to maturity, and then, but not too big. Pop them
Yes.
in the ground, and that way we keep our beds full and just keep the garden full. Basically, I'm always
Yeah.
looking to be planting
Yeah.
something. Oh yeah, I don't know if you want to have a look at anything else in here.
There's so much. There's so
Yeah.
much, and you've got tomatoes, and what did you say these were down the bottom?
Yeah, dwarf French marigolds.
Dwarf French marigolds. So there's a lot of companion planting.
Yeah.
But I suppose because I'm a bit of a novice to all this, I'm absolutely staggered on how bountiful everything is.
Oh, good.
And you know, and all of this sort of.
Strong, yeah.
Most people's tomato plants are about 3 foot, 4 foot, aren't they? And they start falling. Well, I say that, it's probably not true. I'm probably actually just talking about mine. But the grow in the bag ones and things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that's the advantage. If you can get them to grow in soil like this, so these have got a root run deep down. Like I've been explaining with No Dig, you know, they can root a long way down.
Yeah.
And all we do in here is once a year put on about 4 centimetres, 1.5 inches of new compost. And that's it for a whole year. And we grow after the tomatoes and melons, peppers, aubergines. We plant salads for the winter without putting any more compost. So 2 crops a year.
Superb. I can hear the bees thoroughly enjoying it.
Good buzz, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the lovely melons up there sort of just hanging off. They might ripen soon.
Come and have a look at the melons, Julia, who's holding the camera.
Yeah, do you know what? Oh, and there's another interesting thing. Yeah, do you know what? I think we've got a ripe melon here. We do. Richard, this is auspicious.
Oh, this is us. Here we go.
Do you see the difference? There's 2 things here that tell you this melon is ripe compared to, say, that one.
Okay, is it the yellowing?
Yeah, the yellowing.
Right.
And then look at this slight cracking around the stalk.
So it would naturally drop.
When
when it's ready.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's why I think that the advice was always you put a net under to stop them falling.
Right.
But in this case, because I'm around, it's another job saved.
It's another job saved. So yeah.
So let's harvest this one, and that's good because we still got the store. So that could store for a few days if you wanted to. I mean, would you like to try a bit?
I'd love to try a bit. And I tell you, Julia.
Julia'd like a bit as well.
Absolutely. I might have to hold the camera and see Julia's reaction.
Right. This is a Charente melon. Yeah, look at that.
Oh, look at that.
Wow.
That's gorgeous. I'm going to take a little. Oh my goodness.
Sure.
Let me grab the camera and Julia have a.
That's heavenly.
It's the fragrance as well, isn't it? Really.
I thought the lettuce was good. Delicious.
And that's fresh off the stalk.
I mean, this is something you can't buy, these kinds of flavours.
No.
Oh, yeah. I mean, also because it's so seasonal. It's 11 months since I last had a piece of melon. And that makes it all the more special as well.
And actually, that's a very interesting thing to mention. When you're growing your own stuff, you're growing within season. And, you know, that whole thing about getting strawberries from Spain or wherever, and the sort of constant, you can have whatever you want, whenever you want.
Yeah.
Is
You can't.
you can't
But you
really.
don't miss it, actually, because when you get a flavour like that, it's worth waiting 11 months for. And then you know that it's just going to be that special occasion once a year. And same with the tomatoes. I mean, these have only just started ripening. I've picked the first few just in the last week. And this is a variety called Berner Rose from Bern in Switzerland. So it's a traditional variety. And actually the flavour is superb. And these are grown without feed or fertiliser. So I'm not, this is just pure No Dig, good healthy soil. Look at the mushrooms here. That's a sign of good fungal activity.
Oh, I see. Yes, didn't notice.
And look at these under the flowers as well. So I'm always happy when I see that happening because that tells me there's a good fungal life in the soil.
Right. Yes, of course.
Also that we're watering enough. So I don't use drip lines because this wouldn't happen otherwise. I want to feed all the microbes. So we water all the ground. And that way, that keeps the soil life busy and active and helping the plant roots.
So do you water with a...
No, not overhead. We do it by hand.
Do it by
with
hand.
Hose or watering can. And I just feel that, it's time, but that's time well spent. You can even, you always see things when you're watering that need doing, or you pull out a few side shoots on the tomatoes or whatever.
The aroma in here, as I've got down, I don't know why, but I've just got down nearer to the earth.
It's
the
true,
aroma
isn't it? Yeah.
is, and
Well, that's another lovely thing, is the soil and the biome, the biology in here. I'd not heard this phrase until recently, soil biome. I don't know if you've come across that, and people then talk about the gut biome as well.
Yeah, I've heard about the gut biome. We had a lady talking about that on the show.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, this is pretty much the same, and that's why it's actually you can eat soil. For people who got depleted in their gut biome,
Yeah.
I would say that, especially no dig soil, really healthy. It will help your health. Because then a strong, healthy gut,
Yeah.
which a lot of people has got depleted because they've only got access to super clean food from a supermarket. There's not much biology on it.
No.
So if you eat food like this, you've got the biology, the bacteria that are otherwise missing, and you get a strong, healthy gut, and the gut is a quarter of the brain.
Yes.
You
Yes. So
suddenly
right.
realise
Yeah,
you can work things out more, and also it's 80% of the immune system, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you were talking about that. But
No, absolutely. It's all. I mean, it's so obvious, really, in the end, when it's explained like that. It just seems
good.
so natural and obvious. And we have, in this so-called sophisticated, cultivated world, made things so difficult.
Yes.
And meeting people like yourself has been, for me, a massive journey of understanding how complicated we've made life. And how we've, in a way, frightened people from giving things like this a go. Yeah. So I'm so grateful for people who are doing this stuff and that we're passing the message. And it's not that hidden away and you've got to pay all the time. Everybody wants money, and you're telling us the secrets of it, and people just got to go out and get on with it.
Keep it simple. Believe the simplicity. Keep your eyes open, understand more of what you're seeing, and enjoy the process.
It's absolutely staggering. We're going to have to get out here.
Yeah, it's getting a bit warm, isn't it?
But it's amazing. Now, Julia will have on the back of the camera how long we've been recording. Don't want to keep it too long.
51:47.
51. Can we finish off with some of the unusual aspects that you have in your garden? That you mentioned something that dealt with the chemtrails, and there was a lovely pipe which has got this sort of layered thing on, which might be an ancient thing that you don't fully understand it, but it seems to put energy into what we're doing.
Absolutely. I'm just going to say in passing that these two beds here is my Dig No Dig trial.
Right.
And this can illustrate, they're 5 feet wide, 16 feet long.
Yeah.
Every year, the average over 10 years is 105 kilograms of food.
105 kilograms of food
from this space here.
Right. That sounds a lot.
And it is. It's just I'm mentioning that to encourage your viewers to see what they could achieve in a small space.
Yes.
Don't be daunted because my garden's really big, but I'm a market gardener. But this can scale down really effectively.
So it's all doable.
It's very doable.
Yeah, it's very doable.
Yeah, and I get this feedback all the time, and that pleases me so much because that's my mission really. I get frustrated by how difficult it's been made to sound.
Right.
And also then having fun like this. This is
oh yes, here we go.
This is based on the work of a guy called Philip Callaghan, who was a PhD scientist, and he was intrigued by the round towers of Ireland, and these huge stone towers, 30 feet high. Big structures built by the Celts in 800.
I'm just going to look for your microphone. There we go.
So in Ireland, you've got these round towers dotted around, built by the Celts, 800 BC, and nobody knows what they're for.
Right.
And he, looking at a map of them one day, he realised they're the northern night sky constellations at winter solstice mapped out on Ireland. So he figured there's something to do with pulling in energy. And this is a scaled down model according to his design.
And do you think it's pulling in energy?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I can't say because I can't measure it.
You can't measure it.
But I think so.
Yeah.
I kind of feel it.
We're going to go down and have a look at your copper pipes. There is when we spoke to Natalie, what was her name, Julia? Natalie McBride, the gut lady. Natasha McBride, somebody or other. Lovely lady. We've got her GAPS books. She was very much talking about the love, the energy of love that goes into food that makes it very good for you.
Yeah.
And when you see how commercial food is going, people, they're quite dour, they go to work, they have to work, they're in an assembly line. There's nothing going into that food in an emotional way. Clearly, what you're doing here, you're so passionate about what you do. Every fibre of the plants that are growing here are full of that love that you've
Yeah.
put into it, which must then not only affect the flavour, but must keep you healthy.
Yeah, it keeps me healthy, keeps the plants healthy. It's all a beautiful interaction, actually.
Yeah.
And because of the simplicity of no dig, you know, you've got more time to actually,
Appreciate it.
yeah, and do more. And even things like this, which is, I actually paid a guy to help me make this because it's a bit technical last October. And it's based on the work of Wilhelm Reich, who was into orgone therapy. That's feel-good moods, feel-good hormones. And also, some people call it a chem buster, so it's mitigating the trails
The
above.
trails above,
Yeah,
yeah.
cleaning the sky a bit.
Do you think
it's
it does that?
What?
Does it do that?
Well, I do actually look up sometimes, and I think, well, the sky looks a lot more blue here, and over there, there's quite a few trails. But you would see that anyway. They always tend to congregate on the horizon. But
Right.
yeah, I think it does actually, because I do. There's clearly things going on here. A lot of people say to me the plants grow much faster here in my garden compared to where they are, that sort of thing. But it's very hard to pin it down to one
Yes.
factor. But I like this. It feels good to me. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And I think it's an amplification, a bit like you were saying, of love, if you like.
Yeah.
You know, just holding these pipes, and there's a double pointed quartz crystal at the bottom of each one, which is, perhaps in technical terms, pulling up good energy from the earth and spreading it out quite a distance, I reckon, in the sky. So I'd like to think that if lots of your viewers made these, I'll see if I can find the link and we could put it in the video
Yeah,
description.
absolutely.
The cost might be £250, £300 in raw materials, but you know, once you've got it, you've got it.
You got it, yeah. And if it's clearing the skies,
Yeah, you're helping
And-
everybody.
and absolutely, and your garden is more plentiful,
Yep.
why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. I think we're sort of running out of time. This has been an absolute joy. It really has. And we've learnt so much. We're desperate to get some land and get on with this and
Good.
get out and really do it and share our adventure as best we can. I cannot tell you how appreciative we are.
Good.
And I know the audience also, because there'll be so many myths that you have just busted in what you've said.
Yeah.
And I'll put links to how people can find out more about you, what you're doing, and
Yeah, good.
all of that good stuff.
Well, I look forward to coming and seeing your place when it's
Yeah, well,
getting underway.
We will invite
Not as
you.
finished product, because it always takes time.
Yeah,
but
we'll
yeah.
invite you. Well, we'll probably be asking you for the invite. What have we done
Yeah.
wrong here?
Yeah, no,
So
go
that
for
would be
it.
great. I'll
Yeah.
come round here because I wanted to shake your hand. Thank you so much, Charles. It's been absolute joy.
Oh, well, I've enjoyed it.
I hope you've got something out of that, my lovely viewer. We hope to be back out and about on more outdoor interviews with extraordinary people like Charles. But in the meantime, don't forget to check out all the links, and I'll be back with more interviews and things in the future. But from Charles and I,
Goodbye.
thank you and goodbye.